Yeah, man. Happy to be here.
Well, I tell you what, it is hot in Alabama, and they say it's going to get hotter. They talk about 103 to 105 Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's about unheard of, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yes.
So, kind of hard to get out and get fishing. So, I just thought maybe I'd kind of tune our show today to deal maybe with that heat. First, before we get to that, though, I do want to mention to everyone that our locator hat is back in stock. You can get it on the internet. It's available. It's a real nice hat. It's a good light color for hot temperatures. So it's vented it has a vented back. So definitely might want to check that out on the internet. $24.99, I believe.
Yep.
So anyway, check that out. What we call the locator hat. It's available now on the website here at Big Bite Baits. Got any questions left over from last week, bro?
Yeah, we've got a couple that we can go over right quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. R. Perez Jr. was wanting to know, what are the best baits for post-spawn bass?
Well, I think there's a variety of things you can use for post-spawn bass. I mean, some of those fish are obviously still hanging out shallow, so you can attack them shallow with like fighting frogs and different types of presentations where you on the bank trick sticks. As those fish begin to move on out, then we kind of fall back to what we did last week, talk about jigs and big worms and shaky heads and even crankbaits and things like that. So I think you just kind of follow the fish back out as they come out and change your tactics as you go out.
Sure, I agree with that. Let's see. Joseph Does Everything was wondering, what are our favorite baits or colors for spawning bass?
I think that again goes to your water clarity. Okay, I know like here in the spring, if the fish sometimes will spawn, that water will be mud red. So I'm gonna use a black blue or a black neon, a black red flake, something that's darker. If your water's clear and you can see those fish, then obviously you can lighten your color up to maybe the green pumpkins, watermelon reds. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that fish for spawning bass like to use a white type bait. That way they can actually see the fish bite the bait in the bed. So that's kind of how I would attack that and look at that, I think.
Sure.
So anyway, I guess we can move on. I guess before I go any further, let me give the teaser for the day. Let's go ahead and talk about it. I mentioned this last week and I had forgot the sample, so I brought it today. One of the new baits in the Scentsation line, the ram tail, which is the new trailer that Clifford Perch has invented. It is a very nice looking little deal, and you can detach the legs. I don't want to detach and mess my sample up, but that is going to be really nice to use on a swim jig and on a football jig. Be here as soon as iCast is over, so something to look at and think about. The ram tail, something to think about. So anyway, Scentsation flavored. You don't have to stick it to your nose and make your eyes water, trust me. So anyway, I wanted to give that to you today because I promised that last week and forgot it. Okay, so today, go ahead.
We got a question I think that'll go along with while you're talking about Scentsation.
Yeah, okay, good.
Hunter Nixon Fishing was wanting to know, since we're coming out with a new plastic formula, are we going to keep the original, or how's that going to work?
Oh yeah, we're going to keep everything we're presently making. Now when you go to buy Big Bite, we have like several different bags that you buy. We have our regular bag, and we have our tour bag, which are basically the same. One's a black bag, one's a yellow bag. They have, here's a sample of our regular Pro Series bag, and Brandon is scrambling right now to give me a Tour Series bag. These baits both have the same scent in them. One of them's a newer line than the other one, but they're basically the same. They have the bite juice in them. The Sensation is going to be in a different color bag, and it has a totally different scent. It's made out of the exact same plastic. Everything's the same. It's just made with a more of a, I hate to say stinky scent, but it's more of like a dead creature scent. It's powerful. You see, I just did that close, and it's making my eyes almost water. It's powerful, so yes. Definitely want to check that out when the time comes. The new Sensation and that scent. It'll be in a silvery white looking bag. You can't miss it. Maybe next week we can show the bag. That might be a little teaser for next week for sure. Definitely something to think about. But anyway, so today, because of the heat, fish are getting deep, fish are getting sluggish. Fish are getting harder to catch by the day because of the temperatures. I thought I might just talk a little bit about a drop shot today and several baits that I recommend that you can try on drop shot that we make. Mm-hmm. I mean, so simple. A simple drop shot's easy to do. I like this. I call it alligator hook, but it's got a name. I like this style of hook on my drop shot. I like to tie a big Palomar knot on it and leave a big long tail. And the reason for doing that is I use the tail as my weight catcher, that's what I call it. I put a little knot in the line, and I like to use this type of weight here that has a little harness that you just put on your line and pull it tight, and it'll snug. You can use a cylindrical weight or you can use the round one, either one. Now that's the way I like to do it. It's easy to tie, it's quick, it works really good. The one tip I'll give you is when you pull your line through the hook, pull it back through the loop of the hook, back through the eye of the hook, and that'll make that hook stand up. So when it gets tight on the bottom, your hook will stand out, make your bait more dressed out to the side rather than hanging all down here. So something to think about. But basically, that's just a simple little drop shot hook. And things I'd like to try on this, most of the things I would use, I would nose hook. I would just basically nose hook it. I'm going to do that real quick here, hopefully, and put it on there. So right now, I've got the Limit Maker on there. That's one of our better drop shot baits. And, you know, it's got a name Limit Maker for a reason. It's supposed to be the bait to get you a limit. So something to think about. It comes in a variety of colors. That's one of Michael Neal's baits. It works real well. Several other baits that I would highly recommend on it. I like the Smalley Smasher, which is going to become the Sensation Smasher here for long, because we're going to change this bait into the new Sensation formula. But you can do the 3-inch or the 4-inch in your Smalley Smasher. And basically we have a variety of colors. It's not only good for smallmouth bass. This bait works on largemouth real well too. I know we have a green pumpkin right here that works really well to drop shot for largemouth, and this is the I think it's 425 version and 375 on this one. So those are two things I would highly recommend to try on the end of that drop shot. It's designed to nose hook, and it works really well. The Smalley Smasher. And then if you just want to have a worm, you can go to our Shaking Squirrel, which is a worm that comes in two sizes, the 4.5-inch version, which is it's a very small, very soft bait. It's in a softer formula than our other baits, okay? Or you can do the 6-inch model in it. And we do have some of the, what I call the highlight colors, like your Sunrise, and one we have is called a Magic. Both of those are have bright colors in them. It's funny, sometimes you wouldn't think those bass would bite that, but they will, rather than the old proverbial tilapia magic, is so to speak, so, or a watermelon red. So definitely something to look at. So those are some of the things that we make that I would recommend to put on that drop shot and try. Obviously, real light line, and not be scared to fish that deeper waters. You want to fish it, you'll get bites on it. So definitely, talk to me.
What would you say as far as like your leader length there between weight and hook? What's a good length for, you know, just
I like to play with that because sometimes the fish might be suspended off the bottom a little bit more, and that's the nice thing about it. All you got to do is tie a knot in it. You can move your lead up higher and higher and higher. That's up to you.
Sure.
That's the one thing I like about it. Normally I start out about a foot, and then I work from there, and it works pretty good actually.
And on your weight there, your lead, tungsten, whichever, what size are you
Depends on
using?
how deep you're fishing it. I mean, I kind of attack that the same way I would a big worm or anything else. If I'm fishing out there real deep, I'd put like a 3/8 on it, or either like at least a 1/4 ounce, a heavy lead on it to get it down in that deeper water. I think it all goes about with how deep you're fishing it, but it definitely will work in those same spots that you might throw a jig or a B2 worm or even a big crankbait.
Sure.
You can throw this, and when the fish sometimes are finicky, they'll bite this for some reason.
Pressured maybe.
Yeah, pressure, that's another good point. And they'll bite this over that. So something to think about. But that's definitely a good way to go.
And do you ever do any kind of Texas rig drop shot, or mostly just a nose hook?
Just mostly like I do right here. But now some people do opt to do that. I have talked to people I know a guy who puts a EWG hook on there, like a 3/0, and he threads it just like he would a regular worm. Okay. But what I wouldn't like about that is you got to set the hook. But he fishes that in real deep water and puts a big old lead on it. So he says it's no different than fishing a Texas rig.
Kind of like what some guys would call like a power shot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And he seems to think that works real good for him.
Sure.
So, I personally don't really like to do that, but, I mean, that's something that you can do,
And your favorite colors are going to be some of what you see there?
I kind of like those bright colors, the Sunrise or the Magic. The K-Magic's real good, the Sunrise. They seem to work really good. And if you just don't have any confidence in those, then you just fall back on old reliable tilapia or tilapia Magic. It seems to work pretty good too. So
sure.
Definitely.
Well, that sort of covered. Owen Larson had asked
him
if we did any kind of drop shot baits and the colors and stuff.
All right, I think we got a couple more questions on the board. Let me have those.
Yeah,
today.
we still got a couple more here.
All right, good.
So JSimp24 wants to know if we make any kind of good crawls for like skipping docks.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously. I know a lot of folks that throw a fighting frog around the docks. I know a lot of folks that throw that kamikaze crawl around the docks. They're both crawfish replications, and they both do really well around docks. So I definitely would try those two for sure.
Okay. And This might be an interesting idea.
Okay.
Cantus Fishing was asking if we would ever do a warehouse tour.
Might be a warehouse tour, but not a plant tour. They pretty much keep the plant on lockdown, but we could probably go through the warehouse, and it's phenomenal. I know the few people I've taken over there, even the pros when they come, they're like just totally surprised about the millions of flats of plastic that's back there. And you know, we have a section where we keep our bulk, and then we have a section where we keep our bagged, and you know, it's quite interesting. There was a video at one time circulating on YouTube with that. I don't know if it's still out there or not, but definitely something we might could look to do in the future, possibly.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much the questions. I know we are going to try and do a Q&A type video in the next couple of weeks.
We'd like to do that. Matter of fact, we can probably do that next week if you'd like to. I just want to tell everybody, make sure when you're out there in this real heavy heat we're having right now, make sure you hydrate real well. Drink lots of fluids, because that heat will catch up on you pretty quickly if you don't realize it. And we want everybody to be safe while they're out there fishing and still make it enjoyable.
Okay.
Definitely. But until that, we'll see y'all next Monday right here at the same place.